Okay. Hake is live on Periscope and trovo.live/The Hake Report, and dlive.tv/The Hake Report. Demonetized on DLive, but not on Trovo at this point. We'll see what happens with that. I'm live on YouTube and Facebook as well. Very nice. And Twitch, I presume, should be starting shortly. And I am seeing your live chats. What's up, everybody? It's 9:02 a.m. here in Los Angeles, U.S. Pacific Standard Time, Monday, February 8th, 2021. Can you believe it? I have some things to talk about. I would like to touch briefly on the passing of the good friend of Bond, Cheryl. If you didn't hear about it, check out the Sunday service, Bond Church with Jesse Lee Peterson. Church with Jesse Lee Peterson. The Super Bowl was yesterday. Kind of uneventful, right? In my mind. I have some things to touch on with regard to Biden's immigration and his LGBTQIA push. A nasty person. And Black History Month being forced on the kids. I think the parents should pull their kids out of these schools, children out of these schools. Even in just a suburb of Salt Lake City, Utah, is being forced on them by radicals. And I have some details about these radicals. Pretty interesting stuff. And you can call in 888-775-3773. But let's get right on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, how are you all doing? I am fine. Sabata says, I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. The Super Bowl is anti-white. They're anti-anything right. They hate everybody. Totally kiss up. And they've been like that for ages, honestly. Remember they would wear pink? They would force the players to wear pink or let them anyways. How embarrassing. Pink. That's for Susan G. Komen for the Cure. Supposedly helping women overcome breast cancer. And I think that type of cancer may be disproportionately affecting black mothers or something like that. Maybe because the abortion breast cancer link. I don't know. But it is sick because Susan G. Komen for the Cure also supports Planned Parenthood and abortions. So what good is that? All that feel good. Wasn't there like some woman, not a Christian, who started this organization called F blank bleep cancer. F cancer. Yeah, okay. That'll help. That'll help being mad and cussing and being unladylike. No, that's not going to help. There was an NFL pre-halftime show commercial thing saying the NFL is dedicated to fighting systemic racism. And you've heard all these disgusting so-called officials and cowards kissing up to the kneelers. It's not the Steelers, it's the kneelers. Ridiculous, shameful kiss-ups inspired or outspired by that Colin Kaepernick guy. Colin Kaepernick, the half-white guy who doesn't know that blacks bring it on themselves when they get themselves killed by cops. But no, he'd rather cry murder and say, oh, they're committing murder and getting away with it and getting on paid leave. Give me a break. So phony. And they're letting them do it. They're letting them get away with falsely smearing whites and police and covering up the fact that blacks are out of control. And that does no favor to the blacks. That only makes them worse. It's pretty sick. And then you have children doing that. You have children, including little white boys. Well, not that little. Fat white boys. I'm talking about like high schoolers and younger kneeling before their little football game things. Shameful. So that's disgusting. The NFL has been disgusting for years. For years. Hake looks more, I don't know. Colin Barrett says, Hake looks more ginger today. I don't know. It looks like, I don't know. Anyway, thank you. Yeah. It's terrible. I'm going to get to calls. But you know what? Since I have all of this stuff prepped, let me get right to this. One line open, by the way, guys. Speaking of perversion, I mentioned this towards the end of hour 2 of the Jesse Lee Peterson show. I didn't get really into it. I just read the headline for you guys pretty much. Black History Month is being forced on the kids in Ogden, Utah. Ogden, Utah is a suburb of Salt Lake City. Heavy Mormon population, right? Lots of kissing up to blacks, I notice. Among the Mormons, my age, I've noticed. Well, I've known like one Mormon, and he was from that area. Well, St. George. And he was, although he was like a no-nonsense type of person normally, for some reason I knew him during the Trayvon Martin controversy, right? When Trayvon Martin attacked and was grounding and pounding George Zimmerman, allegedly. And George Zimmerman shot him in self-defense and killed him. Simple case of self-defense. And this guy was a Mormon, like a conservative Christian type Mormon, right? If you count them as Christians, right? And he wanted to be a lawyer, this guy. Big, no-nonsense, professional guy, but he wanted to be a lawyer, right? And then he's falling for this, George Zimmerman got his butt kicked. And then so he shot Trayvon Martin. According to George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin said, you're going to die tonight. After he saw that George had the gun, he said, you're going to die tonight. So he's grounding and pounding him. And isn't that so typical of some of these guys with a death wish? They don't have any, just reckless with their lives and with the lives of others. You saw how one guy ran up and killed a Asian guy up in San Francisco. No concern. They're not my kin. So he didn't care that he killed a person. Ran up and did a knockout game thing. Attack on a Asian guy. It may well have been the case, same with Trayvon Martin versus George Zimmerman. You have a problem? No, I don't have a problem. You do now. And then he clocked him. According to what George Zimmerman says, and his so-called girlfriend, Trayvon Martin's so-called girlfriend, said, I believe Trayvon threw the first punch. Anyway, lots of kissing up to blacks. And they used to not believe blacks were like human or something like that. The Mormons. I think that they thought that they were like fallen angels or something like that, and they couldn't get into heaven. I'm probably completely butchering their past beliefs. But I remember hearing Mitt Romney, the Mormon presidential candidate, whom I did vote for, I know, saying, I was celebrating in my car when they announced that they repealed that part of our religion. Total kiss up. And Mitt Romney was total kid gloves with Obama. Obama was so phony, I guess Mitt Romney proved himself to be a phony himself, too. He was phony, too, so he couldn't fight Obama with power or strength or truth. So a total coward. So there's a weakness there among the Mormons. And usually, I respect them because they're more moral. They have big families. That part's cool. I grew up thinking that they were weird, and we were taught about, oh, they ride their bikes in their suits, well, suit and tie, or shirt and tie and pants, and they go and try to teach you to be a Mormon. But the Mormons that we knew growing up, because there was like always one family or two, they were nice people. Anyway, parents at this Maria Montessori Academy in North Ogden were sent an email, and the school's Facebook page put up this statement that said parents could opt out. And apparently a bunch of parents were opting out of this Black History Month mess. And you can only imagine why. Like, look at how evil Black Lives Matter has been unmasked more than ever. They were unmasked before Black Lives Matter existed as hating cops and falsely crying racism all the time, and hating white people, always being suspicious, and not really needing this Black History Month. Everybody knows that it's a silly, liberal, phony academic media contrived thing, this Black History Month. It's phony. That's why they have to put Apple has to remind you it's Black History Month tomorrow. Nobody normal celebrates it. Google puts it in their thing. Schools force it on the kids. Before, I remember it was completely just an idea. Oh, you could do that if you want. I remember we could opt out of, I think we were able to opt out of sex ed, definitely, because I did. And then we also opted out of, well, you could opt out, I think, out of, what is that? Evolution. Evolution. You could opt out of that. Or you had to present both. Creation and evolution. Times have changed, huh? Crazy. But some activist mother got all, so-called mother, right? I don't even know if she's a real mother. Got all up in arms. She was described as a parent. Parent. All up in arms about it. Let me play this clip for you. It's a news report from Fox 13 now in Salt Lake City on this school. Utah school rescinds the option. Says, no, you can't opt your kids out of this. We're going to force this on your kids. They should really just take their kids out of this school. I don't know if it's a private school, but it's called Maria Montessori Academy in North Ogden. Listen to this clip. It's about a minute and a half, or give or take 30 seconds. I forget how long it is. But check this out, and you're going to hear some of these activists talking and quoted. Okay. This is from the local news, Fox 13 now. Oh,
parents at Maria Montessori Academy in North Ogden were sent an email informing them that they would have the option to opt their child out of Black History Month lessons and events that were planned throughout the month of February. Now they're telling us the school is rescinding that offer.
I'm not exactly sure why anyone thought that they had to send out a document saying, I don't want my child to participate in this activity. That's what the document says.
Jamie's daughter has been a student at Maria Montessori Academy for 7 years.
And this is the first year that anything has ever been discussed about Black History Month.
Lex Scott, founder of Black Lives Matter Utah, says the decision to allow parents to opt out is appalling.
You can't opt out of Black history. Black history is American history.
In an email sent to parents, the school's director, Micah Hirakawa, says he is deeply saddened and disappointed that parents would opt their children out of Black History Month curriculum, and added that as an Asian American whose great-grandparents were thrown into internment camps, he values teaching students about the, quote, mistreatment, challenges, and obstacles that people of color in our nation have had to endure.
It's just heartbreaking that anyone who runs a school would believe that it is okay in any way, that it is acceptable in any way to try to ban talking about Black history.
Hirakawa was hired to replace the school's former director in April of 2020. Jamie says she believes he has made a genuine effort to include Black History Month lessons as part of the school's curriculum.
I just knew that he was as surprised as I was that probably a lot of families sent in the paperwork to not participate.
Lex says the ability for parents to opt out shouldn't have been an option in the first place.
He needs to learn from this. He needs to apologize and make sure that every child in that school learns about Black history.
Utah law does allow parents to opt their children out of portions of curriculum based on religious beliefs or right of conscience. But a representative with the State Board of Education clarified with Fox 13 that, quote, no student can be waived from state social studies standards, which include a focus on U.S. history, inequality, and race relations. Once
Sick.
again, Jamie Tracy tells me that within the last few hours, the school has sent out an email apologizing for the original opt-out option and has rescinded that offer. And the school's director declined our request for an interview.
Weak. So the school's director is this Hawaiian Japanese guy named, I forget what his name is. Named something weird. Hirokawa, something like that. Micah Hirokawa. And he's this guy who wears these Hawaiian shirts all the time and these Hawaiian necklaces things. Yeah, why are all these people in Utah? It's so strange. Well, one of them, the deep-voiced woman whom you heard, who was talking on the phone, you could hear it's kind of muffled like she's talking on the phone. She says that she was born and raised there, but she's apparently not a Christian. She says, I'm going to get to her. Man. But this guy is pushing this Japanese victimhood thing. I knew Japanese people when I was growing up. Like, my best friend was Dutch, Indonesian, Japanese. And his grandparents were in the internment camps. I never heard them complaining with this silly stuff. They were grateful to be in America. Whatever. And so they want the state standards. See, the states are full of these corrupt people trying to influence the so-called education, meaning indoctrination. The state of Utah is pushing your children to learn about inequality. And they're not talking about, oh, non-whites get special treatment. No, because that's the reality today, right? Non-whites get special treatment. Females get special treatment. And this guy's pushing, oh, as an Asian American, my great-grandparents, I'm kind of surprised that it was great-grandparents, were thrown in the internment camps. Whatever. Let me show, yeah, there he is. And he just replaced the director of the school last year. I don't know who the director of the school was before, but these local places are getting subverted, corrupted, sick. Let me show you that parent. Because yes, indeed, an LGBT is involved. So here is a little self-bio on this parent whose daughter, I guess they said, was at this school for like the past 7 years. And now she's all up in arms because they sent this notice that your kid doesn't have to go through this fake education of Black History Month. This is her talking about her professional and personal life. This Jamie Tracy woman. Clip 12. Just a minute and a half, like. Okay.
My name is Jamie Tracy. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I am part of the LGBTQ community, and I strive to advocate for my community in all areas of my life. But I also want to be the therapist for that group because there's not a lot of us out there. And I was born and raised in Ogden, Utah, and my family was not of the predominant religion, and I grew up with that experience, and it did shape me to be the person that I am today. What I love about therapy is the moment where I make a connection with another person, and I know that I am a person that they can lean on and trust. And when that rapport and that connection is made, that is what I love about therapy. If someone were afraid to seek therapy, then I would tell them that there's absolutely no reason to be afraid, and that it's okay when things aren't working to seek therapy from somebody who can understand your situation and help you through it. Being at Aloha is like being around my family, and the people here really, really care about this community, And being that this is my community, I really feel like I'm doing something to give back to where I was raised, born and raised.
Weirdo, huh? That's strange. And it's the place that she's called. I don't know why the Hawaiian influence, but the place where she works is Aloha Behavioral Consultants. This Jamie Tracy person. Because she didn't say what she is. She didn't say if she's a lesbian, which would mean she's still a she. But she might not be a lesbian. She might be a transgender. So I don't want to call her a she. Oops. What a mess. And this is a so-called parent who is pushing for everybody else's children to be indoctrinated the way she wants her child, alleged child, to be indoctrinated. And she doesn't believe in, she said that she's not of the predominant religion. I don't know what religion she is. Is she atheist? Is she Jewish? Was she a regular Christian and so she didn't count Mormons as the predominant religion? Is she satanic? Yeah. Not healthy. Not wise, but she's leading, or should I say misleading, other people to go in the same dark path that she's on in her professional life, and forcing the school to do the same thing to other children, what she's doing to her child, the child that she's raising, right? It's terrible. She works with those struggling with suicidal ideation, self-harm, anxiety, depression, adjusting to change, childhood trauma, PTSD. She has all that stuff. Well, pretty much. Transgender support, life transitions, grief and loss, behavioral issues, foster care, adoption issues, emotional distress. Ally of the LGBTQ, intersex, transgender, non-binary, non-monogamous relationships, open relationships. I guess that's why the Mormons... No, I'm kidding. Mormons don't accept polygamy anymore. Sex positivity, sex workers, all kinds of nasty stuff. Body positivity, cultural sensitivity, and racial justice. I show you that to show you that don't go messing with her. There, see, I'm responsible. Don't go harassing her in case you saw that information and be like, I want to go bother this woman. No. But that's that woman. Now here's about the other woman. The lady who is nominally black. I guess she's black. Lex Scott is the founder of Black Lives Matter Utah. And she's meddling in this mess too. These three characters. The director who's pushing the... still mad about the internment camps and saying, oh, we need to push this thing about POCs. Whites are so bad to POCs throughout history and to this day. And then this, what I presume to be a lesbian woman. To this day. Thank you. Jamie Tracy, and now Lex Scott, Black Lives Matter Utah founder. This lady, no, she actually is not a lesbian. Despite what it may look. We're showing a picture of her. Short hair. By the way, the lesbian, if you weren't watching the video stream, the Jamie Tracy lady is a big woman, potentially at risk for COVID. That's a euphemism for fat, because I don't want to be rude and call her fat. But, and she was looking like kind of, is it bad to say dykey looking woman? It's true. It's true. She probably calls herself that. Lex Scott has, short-haired woman, slicked back, and pushing mess. And now Lex Scott is the founder of Black Lives Matter Utah. This is interesting. This is kind of like what Jesus talked about in the Bible, a lesson in persistence for good or for evil. This woman, look at her. She's wearing a baseball cap on a TV interview. We're showing pictures, screenshots of a local ABC4 Utah news. She's a founder of Black Lives Matter Utah, Lex Scott, talking about stuff. Looks like she's in a nurse's outfit or something. Showing a lot of skin. But she's like oldish. Looks like she's probably in her 40s or 50s. Or in old 30s. Maybe even, well, anyway. And she has this short-cut hair on the side, and then long and parted, like a dude or like a effeminate guy. Like The Weeknd. Doesn't The Weeknd have girly hair sometimes? That one guy, I think he performed at the Super Bowl, I heard. No second E in the line. He has an afro now. Yeah, so, man, look at these pictures. Look at the side profile one. Acting like she thinks that she's cute or something. That's terrible. And that's too much makeup, honestly. They put rosy. She has rosy cheeks, and yet she is like dark enough to where you wouldn't have rosy cheeks. You know what I mean? She's not that Caucasian. She looks like she has mixed black and white, but anyway. She speaks at these universities, spoke at one anyway, Utah State University. You know, they push this indoctrination in schools. There she is looking all, yeah, she doesn't look exactly straight, but she has a husband, I found out. Look at this. Both she and her husband attended USU, as well as her parents. She was born in Denver, raised in Salt Lake City. Wow, what are these people doing in there? Generations of bringing in people and indoctrinating people to support evil. Well, this woman, I have some Salt Lake City Tribune headlines about her. She has a plan to reduce police shootings. This was a 2018 article featuring her looking all mean. Looking very mean. Is posing in front of the Black Lives Matter sign, shouting into a microphone. She should be quiet in the home, but instead she's out here spreading mess. And has been doing it for years, honestly. She's been doing this so long, and she's, these people aren't founded on what's right, so they tire in what they're doing if they don't get results. They get upset and lose hope. Many on our side who don't have a solid foundation feel the same way sometimes. Because our side, the side of decency, has been losing a lot. There's a 2020 article where she has her Black Power communist fist up in the air, acting like she knows what she's doing or talking about. So, this is from the Tribune, Salt Lake City Tribune, August of 2020. Listen to this. It's just kind of an interesting story to me. Lex Scott was ready to give up. After years of protests and fighting for reform after police shootings, the leader of Black Lives Matter Utah felt like she didn't have much to show for it. She felt like nobody cared. Then everything changed. It's like if you wrote a newspaper every day of your life for 7 years and no one read it, and then one day you woke up, Scott said, this Lex Scott woman, and every single person in the entire world read your newspaper. It's like you were finally heard. Protests broke out across this country and in Utah after the May 25th overdose mostly, of George Floyd and resisting arrest. A black man, they capitalize black because they don't believe in respecting blacks, they just capitalize black to kiss up to them, who was allegedly killed in Minneapolis, Minnesota, by a white officer who knelt on his neck for almost 9 minutes. Well, it wasn't just the knee on the neck. They said it was the knees across the body, restricting his airflow, allegedly, according to one guy who looked not at the body itself, but at the video. That's what they claimed, right? It was ruled a homicide, James. He also had overdose levels of fentanyl. And he also didn't he have meth in his system too, or something like that? Yeah. It sparked change, such as the Utah legislature banning police from using knee-on neck chokeholds. Salt Lake City Mayor Erin Mendenhall, which is Erin being a woman's name, E-R-I-N, Usually that's a spelling for a woman's name. Mendenhall, I don't know what that is. Is that a Christian name? Formed a commission on racial equity in policing. She's working with this Lex Scott woman and others on a Black Lives Matter mural. Like, that's going to help. Outside City Hall. Just push lies in a mural form. I've known Lex's work for years now and impressed by her continued commitment, Mendenhall said, a female mayor of Salt Lake City, in a statement. The consistency of this priority that she's raised puts our city and state in a better position for the seismic shifts we're working to make. They don't need to make any changes except to the blacks and the out-of-control Hispanics and a growing number of whites getting mad at the cops. And the society in general, because people are, including the cops, getting a little bit more out of control with the anger stuff and immaturity. They're not the ones to bring in the right kind of change. We're not only ready for that change, but are further ahead in the work toward that progress because of Lex. And she got all up in arms because of Mike Brown, the fake hands up, don't shoot case. A fake story. Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, was charging at the cop, according to all forensic evidence and witness testimony, the ones who didn't lie. Because there were witnesses who got together. Ooh, he said, hands up, don't shoot. He had his hands up, and he just shot him execution style on the street. Yeah, a likely story, and people were quick to believe it. But it was a lie. Even that black Washington Compost writer, I forget his name, who's now like hosting an MSNBC like Sunday show or something like that, admitted it was a lie. And he defended it again a couple years later. Back in 2015, 2017 or 18. Hands up, don't shoot was a lie, he admitted. But he still kisses up to the fake idea of lie. And to this day, she's pushing lies. But the nice thing is, that shows you persistency works. And Jesus said something about some widow in some story petitioning the king. And not because the king has any compassion for the woman, but because of her persistence. He'll give her what she wants, everything that she wants. And that's why Black Lives Matter scoundrels are getting what they want. And that's why we keep pushing. Because you don't give up. You don't know when something will break. It works for evil and it works for what's right. You don't stop pushing. Isn't that a nice story? Other than that, this woman is misguided and pushing lies on kids and in the community. These women, huh? Fake victimhood. Anyway, let me get to some calls. A first-time caller in Florida, Brian, wants to talk about the election and beyond. Brian, thank you for holding. What's up?
Hey there. Yeah, first-time caller and listener. I only just recently heard about your show, like, right now.
Nice.
I've been listening.
Appreciate it.
Yes, I was curious to know, just as a starter, because I have my own opinions as to why. I wanted to know how you feel. What do you think was the biggest election interference this last election, in your opinion?
The biggest election interference was in this last election.
Yeah, like between Biden v. Trump.
I honestly think it was the 4 years of propaganda. Some say it was the mail-in voting, but I think it's more the mail-in voting was huge because it allowed every idiot who has no clue and no real motivation to vote himself or herself to go ahead and vote really easily and conveniently. And usually those idiots vote for what's wrong. But there was 4 years of there's been really 100 years of false propaganda, maybe more, of phony propaganda pushed against whites and truth and men and America. And Trump stands against all of that pretty much. And
that's right. That's true.
So that's another major issue.
those places where they didn't ask for any voter ID or anything. I am of Cuban descent, but I
Okay.
am an American. Like being a legal citizen of this state or of this country is a prerequisite for voting. You can't vote if you're not a citizen.
Right.
And they let people who weren't citizens vote. That's the problem.
Yeah. True.
I think definitely Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, the big tech conglomerate has something to do with the censoring and the problems that we faced during the election where people regretted voting for Biden, but they didn't know all the facts.
Yeah. Very true.
So,
But I mean, you got to blame them too because they're not interested in the truth. So they just dismiss the people who are on the side of what's right. They did the same thing with Obama. They dismissed Sean Hannity. They dismissed Jesse Lee Peterson. Everybody who was on top of what Obama was really about. They just dismissed them.
them.
And they had the information available. They knew even beforehand that, I mean, it was available to know that that Obama was pro-LGBTQIA, pro-same-sex marriage, even though he pretended not to be. But the blacks were all surprised that he came out in favor of it. And then they still hated Mitt Romney so much that they didn't vote for him. They voted for Obama again, most of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Crazy.
Although Mitt Romney, in recent years now, his true colors have been shown where he's shown himself to be truly anti-Trump, anti-American because he is the small part of the GOP or, I don't know how much there is left over of the previous Republican Party.
Right.
There's a lot of it, but it's like they are pro-establishment. They're like, yeah, corporations, more government, more.
Yep.
I'm very against that. Completely against it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. No, Mitt Romney, I'm kind of glad that he lost, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It would have been hell.
Right.
I think I agree with a lot of the things that I hear from like you, Jesse Lee Peterson, and everything. We may not agree like on everything like religion or whatever, but politically speaking, I feel like we're on the right side of history and they're on the wrong one. That's just how it is.
Yeah. On the right side of what's right.
Well,
because who knows how history is going to be written.
Yeah. I feel like we're on the side of the road less traveled, the road that people are, discouraging you to go down is actually the best road to go down.
Yeah.
They're eating the cake, they're eating the BS that they're spewing.
Right.
It's all a big game for them.
Yeah.
Media, Washington, the U.S., not the U.S., the tech conglomerates, like all of them have their little secret meetings, their little payments, Wall Street, the hedge funds. Everything is kind of connected. It's not right. It's not a free market.
No, it's true.
It needs to be.
You're right. No, it's very corrupt and anti-American, honestly. They collude to get rid of Christians and Christian values and whites and men. It's just a disgusting display, and people shouldn't participate in it as much as they can avoid. They should get away from it.
That's true. I agree with that. I don't think that people should allow themselves to like they shouldn't let other people think for them. That's the problem that they're having. They don't make their own opinions.
Yeah.
They just let other people formulate it for them.
Or they just know that if they step outside of those lines of the accepted opinion that's presented to them by the mainstream media, that they'll get in trouble for it. They're going to get people are very militant when you go against what their fake values. Their fake values. If you aren't fully on board with the LGBTQIA madness, they're gonna form a lynch mob against you and attack you with all of their hatred and all of their fake worldly power.
Wrong.
Yeah.
That's all
same
wrong.
thing with the blacks. Same thing with the immigration situation. Same thing if you ever supported Trump, you're on the outs with them.
They're trying to make like those. Oh yeah, we should have a list indicating who voted for Trump and all this. And I'm like, that's just
Psycho.
what are we going back to?
Right.
We're going back to like Nazi Germany, Russian, USSR. I'd rather avoid anything like that.
Yeah.
As my family is from Cuba, I know what communism can do to a country, and that is not the right way to do it.
Yep.
People defend communism way too much.
Yeah.
They've never done it right. No, they've done it right every single time. That's why there's so many dictatorships.
Yep. Yeah. No, these people are so just blind, useful idiots. It's true, man. I appreciate hearing from you, Brian.
Yeah, I'll probably be watching your show a little bit more often, and I'll probably call back one of these days, see if I can think of anything else to ask you. Before I go, how did you feel after, within one day or like 3 days, 70,000 jobs, the XL pipeline, the executive orders allowing trans, people to go on the wrong sports team and like schools? How did you feel about all that happening all at once?
It was like modern day Obama administration all over again. Only this time it's worse because the culture is degraded that much more just in a matter of 10 years, you know? So it was basically, I was not surprised by any of it. It was to be expected because I knew that Joe Biden was a total kiss up to everything radical and evil. And he's just completely dismissive and nasty towards anybody who stands up for what's right.
That's true. He's very disingenuous.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he also, aside from siding with all the radical, point-blank, incorrect opinion, if you're asking me.
Yeah.
He, after getting elected, he flip-flops and he goes, oh, we stopped the communists. We stopped the socialists. I got elected because we stopped the He's so two-faced.
Yeah.
And they didn't realize it until after they voted, and now they're asking for the receipt, for their receipt, they're asking for their payback, and I changed my vote. No, it's your fault.
Yeah.
This is happening because of you.
Yeah. No, nobody's ever going to be happy on that side because they're just miserable people to begin with, and they're infighting amongst themselves now.
Oh,
yeah. And
yep.
to our shame on our side, there's a bit of infighting too, because when you lose, you're like, it just causes a bunch of stress, and people make mistakes, and people are evil, really, on both sides.
Yeah, this side, on both sides there are evil on both sides, depending on where you look. And also, I definitely, though, the right at this point in history is much more diverse, much more open-minded than the left could ever be at this point. They are very closed-minded, not open to other people's views.
Yeah.
I consider myself, I used to be much more liberal, but like a classic liberal, not like this. I'm more of a libertarian now, you know, less government, all that good stuff. I'm tired of all this stuff. I hope more people wake up to this BS.
Right. Well, I appreciate it. We'll talk again, Brian.
Yeah, man. You have a good one. I'll be watching.
All right. You as well. Take care.
Peace.
Later. Nazi Germany wasn't communist and isn't a comparative adjunct to the USSR, says the chat. Yeah. It's just the going boogeyman nowadays. If they're using it, you can be pretty sure that it's a misdirection. They're the evil ones. The people calling everybody Nazis are the evil ones. They're worse than the people that they're hating. They're evil. The media is evil. The Antifa people are evil. The Black Lives Matter people are evil. The ones, the rhinos who are saying, oh, we want to root out racism and conspiracy theories from our whatever. And it's disgusting. It's very destructive to America. That's very true. And, back in the day, I heard that the KKK had some popularity in the country. And now Black Lives Matter has the popularity. And now Black Lives Matter wants to point the finger at the KKK. And, so is Joe Biden and people in general push about the KKK. But that's so far removed from present day reality. I don't know anybody in the KKK or what they stand for or what they've done. But you look at present day reality, Black Lives Matter is pushing nothing but lies and hate and smears and stirring up cop killings and cheering on knockout attacks, essentially. Knockout attacks on non-blacks. It's evil. Let me get to Russ in Hampton, Virginia. He was like, how come you're always talking about race? Oh, Russ hung up. Let me get to Jesse in California. He says, what's up, Jesse? What are you up to?
Oh, nothing much. What's going on, Egg?
Not much.
Oh, no, I was just calling, who was that? Was that lady an Indian you had on the Black Lives Matter Utah, or she was black, or what?
This woman who I was reading from, she's a Black Lives Matter agitator. I don't know if she has any Indian in her, but she looked mixed race black, like kind of light-skinned black.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just called over there to, I guess their headquarters of Black Lives Matter Utah, and she got this long old message about, like, if you come for her, she'll get you. She's locked and loaded. She just got back from the FBI Quantico. Your IP addresses are being traced and all this crazy stuff.
So you called and left it. You called and you got a voicemail, and that's what her voicemail said?
I just called. No, I didn't leave them one. I called, and she has this long voicemail, like, to anyone sending us death threats, like, we will get police reform, and
right.
I have your IP addresses traced, and we're locked and loaded, and you'll be prosecuted or worse.
Right.
Like,
I'm
what?
sure that, there's the Black Lives Matter is so evil and nasty that it inspires other people to be evil and nasty back at them.
Yeah, you can just hear her.
Yeah. So I'm sure that, anybody who's in the public eye, and she's been a public attention seeker for years now, several years, they're going to get death threats and stuff. And so then sounds like she's
YouTubers
like,
get death threats.
What's that?
I said people that just have, like, regular shows on YouTube,
right?
That fixing cars get death threats.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was funny. I just called. You can pretty much. I mean, if you're blind, I guess you won't see it. But I mean, I could just hear the evil in that lady's voice or whatever.
So you just Googled her information? Like you Googled Black Lives Matter Utah?
I looked it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I looked it up, and then I called. I just called, just wanted to see, like, because they usually, all those places leave, like, they have, like, a long old message
right
on there, like, where to meet, all this crazy stuff. So I was just seeing what her thing was. But yeah, but it's kind of weird because it's like, the Black Americans here aren't even African. They're like mixed, different races of African, right? And like I know people from Africa, they don't even like Black Americans.
I know.
Like they call them cotton pickers and all this other stuff. So like I've met legit Africans, like in the Legion or whatever, the French Foreign Legion, and they're pretty much, they don't consider American Africans whatsoever. They think they're dumb for even thinking that.
And the Black Americans don't like the blacks who come from Africa or whatever. That's why they call this ADOS. What do they call them? ADOS, which stands for what? African descendants of slaves or American descendants of slaves? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, they don't even, like, they pretty much hide behind the Black Lives Matter just to get over here. And, you know what I mean? They don't care about Black Americans whatsoever. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just crap show pretty much. But
it's terrible.
Anyway,
are you getting? Do you see Black Lives Matter agitation where you are?
No, they pretty much know better. I live in the Central Valley, right in Northern California.
Yeah,
and like my friends are all mixed. We joke about race all the time.
I mean, I think that's probably everywhere because even down here in LA, we would joke about race stuff a lot. So we didn't care.
Yeah, like
but then when push come to shove, when push came to shove, they start kissing up to the Black Lives Matter. My dumb friends who like spent their lives making fun of blacks taught me the N-word. and then they're supporting Black Lives Matter and Bernie Sanders and stupid stuff like that. They just fall in line with the fake.
Yeah.
Foundational
I
Black
have
Americans.
Black friends that call. They pretty much, my Black friend pretty much tells me, he's like, there's Black Americans, and I don't want to say the whole word, but
Right.
he's like, Black Americans are the ones who love this country,
Right.
and the Ends are the ones that are trying to destroy it, pretty much, and have no respect. So.
But even the ones who think that they
Black
love the country, they don't. Many of them. They think that they love it, but they don't. They're suckers for the same blind propaganda, believing in racism.
Yeah.
Oh, a bunch of these Black Republicans are, a Black conservative shows you how to overcome in spite of racism, because racism is real. And so they just still hate white people. That's all that is. Believing in racism is hating whites and thinking that you know what's going on in white people's minds.
Yeah, and like the racism, it's funny because there was a ton of Mexicans and Blacks who actually fought for the Confederate Army, like they volunteered.
Nice.
During the war, like I think it was like 3,000 actual Mexicans from Texas fought. They had like battalions and all that stuff. So I don't think it had nothing to do with skin color.
Yeah, no, it was their lives down there.
Yeah, it's just the easiest lie now because people are all unstable and angry. So you just give them that, feed them that, and see it works.
Just ignorantly judge, just blindly, ignorantly judge the Southern whites. And there's Southern whites who are doing the same thing. They're calling me a loser for saying I'm on the side of losers because I wear a Confederate flag T-shirt sometimes, respecting the South, the beautiful South of America.
Yeah, they're good, wholesome people. They're not.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
anyway, Jesse, I appreciate it.
All right, man, you guys take care. I sent you guys that book too, so hopefully I think you guys got it. Hopefully.
Okay. Cool. Appreciate that, man. We'll look out for it.
All right, take care.
All right. You too. Let me quickly get to Earl in, I have a lot of people wanting to talk about public school mess. Richard in Charlotte and Raphael in Vancouver wants to talk about loving the illegals. Yeah. But Earl in Michigan always wants to talk about something I said the other day. What's up, Earl? How are you doing?
Hola, buenos dias.
Guten Morgen.
Guten Morgen to you, yeah?
Yeah. That's funny.
Since you think history is so boring and so forth, I'll just briefly touch on it because Keith from Illinois persists on his presenting the fact that...
That's a caller from last week.
Yes.
Yeah.
That Andrew Johnson, who was a Democrat, took away the rights that the blacks got.
Oh yeah, your mind-numbingly boring call is coming back to me.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything you said, but I just remember it was mind-numbingly boring.
Right, because you have no sense of history.
Yes, I do.
The fact that
I do because I have a sense of now and I have a sense of reality, and I think I might understand human nature a little bit better than you do.
Yeah, of course. In your mind, you think
even though you're old.
Better than, say what?
Even though you're old.
Yeah, you think you're.
Maybe
you're
there's
right
some.
on
I wonder
everything.
what you know that's better than me. What you understand better than me, because with regard to this politics stuff and Christian stuff, man, you're just dense. Anyway.
No, you just have a side that.
But I respect you.
Yeah, purely, you have a white-centered mentality that you shade everything according to how the white folks see it and so forth.
That's how you are about blacks, and you're anti-white.
So
you're anti-white.
There lies the difference.
Earl, you're anti-white.
Whatever you say.
Yes.
But
thank you.
The point that I was going to make, referring to Keith, is that politics and so forth don't remain stagnant. They change over time. What he pointed to is a time in history when Democrats and so forth was entirely different, and their attitudes and policies were totally different than they are today and so forth.
Yeah, they're much better
when he
back then
points
than they
out-
are today. They're so evil today. Democrats are pure evil today. I don't. Back then, you know, I think they might have been pretty respectable.
I think from your point of view, they would have been. You know why?
Why?
Because they believe in all the things you cry about today about white losing their privileges and everything else.
That's not what I cry about. I don't say anything about whites losing their privileges, Earl.
Whites, you long for the time when the whites used to run everything and so forth.
If you had any sense, you would too. If you believed in what was right, you would too.
No.
Yes.
Just because you're stupid enough to believe that don't mean I have to follow suit. But
go on.
The thing about the Boogaloo Boys and white wing extremists.
I don't know anything about the Boogaloo Boys.
What I'm saying is.
What about them?
White militia. The folks that's in
the militia are peaceful people who generally protect everybody. They do.
Anyway,
has any militia killed anybody in the last 10 years? I know militia who've been killed. I know one militia who got killed by the feds. I think it was feds or state troopers.
And the QAnon people and all those folks, they would have been happy with the Democratic Party of the 1860s up to the civil rights movement.
Because they weren't pushing pushing false black victimhood, and they weren't pushing abortion, and they weren't pushing same-sex marriage and LGBTQIA madness. They weren't oppressing people back then.
Yes, they were.
Not like today.
They were oppressive.
Not as oppressive as today. Black Lives Matter and the Democrats are pure oppression today.
The Democrats of that era was oppressive. Their antithesis was blacks.
The Democrats of today are pro-oppression of everybody. And you're too much of a sucker to realize it. Because you pretend to believe in free speech, but you don't.
The Republican Party of Lincoln is nothing unlike the Republican Party of today.
I know. The Republican Party of today is just like the Democrats. Suckers, pure evil.
Yeah. The Democrats of the 1860s.
No, the Democrats of today.
The one who wanted to end any black people that was moving up and so forth.
You don't know what you're talking about.
They wanted to reclaim their land and so forth by any means necessary.
False.
That's
by any means necessary is you people. It's a communist phrase. By any means necessary, BAM, is a communist phrase pushed by you people.
Necessary.
By any means necessary is Black Lives Matter.
Hanging blacks.
You don't have a clue what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about.
That's what I'm saying.
No, you don't know what you're saying.
Because
you can't even interpret.
You don't like history.
Earl, you can't even interpret the present times. You don't even know what's going on right now.
Well, that makes no difference.
You don't understand history. Give me a break.
No, that's no excuse because you can't accept history. But,
you can't accept reality right now. The reality right now is, Earl, that blacks hate whites, and they hate each other too, and they're out of control. And you're pretending that it's not reality. Anyways, Earl,
I think there's
nice talking with you.
There are some whites that hate. I won't blanket like you did blacks. There are some whites that hate blacks, but it wasn't all.
Whatever.
And
that's very magnanimous of you.
You know,
Earl is drunk on Michigan water, says Shaggy Boy. Name a few conservative white men that you admire, Earl.
I do. One is, well, he wasn't white, but you know Tony Brown of Tony Brown's Journal?
Mm-mm.
No.
That's a conservative black guy or something?
You need to learn about him. I wanted to ask you about this was a Smartmatic suing the Fox News and Lou Dobbs and Marie Barono and Carino and so forth.
Yeah.
About $2.7 billion. So that's not only sports. Dominion is suing, and they also suing.
Smartmatic are a bunch of liberals too, just like Dominion.
They suing. What's that girl name?
Sidney Powell.
Sidney Powell.
The great and
Rudy
beautiful
Giuliani.
Sidney Powell.
Yeah. Now they would have to answer to the music. They could bring all their facts and all their conspiracy theories that.
Are you in Flint,
that only
Michigan?
blacks was cheating.
Are you in Flint?
Say what?
Are you in Flint, Michigan?
No.
The water is
No.
still bad, I heard.
Yeah, it is. That Republican.
So what happened to your mind that you're this blind?
That Republican governor is being prosecuted for, but he should have been prosecuted for more than what he's for more than misdemeanors. He should have been prosecuted for more serious things because he was responsible. The
Anyway.
buck stopped with him.
I don't really have time to listen to you pretend to care about justice and truth and stuff. I got to run, Earl. Let's talk again.
Okay, because you don't either. All you care about is white grievance. Adios, amigo.
All right, adios. I'll be right back, guys. A couple of minutes here. I'm going to get back to calls. I will talk about this attack on the people by attacking their gun rights and the LGBTQIA madness pushed by Joe Biden, a sicko, complete sicko. But hang tight. A couple of minutes here. I'll be right back. So, pro-gay Joe Biden. All of these past months, I've been hearing people, including like independent-minded, center-left, pro-Trump people, or at least not crazy anti-Trump people, pretending that Joe Biden is a moderate. Oh, he's a moderate. Moderate to what? A moderate is Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity is a moderate. Joe Biden is extreme left. He's pure evil. And here is an example. Homosexuality International, the ILGA, International Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Trans, and Intersex Association, is a globalist, homosexualist organization. This is inside of, yeah, there it is. Pushing delusions on the people around the world. And they're not just trying to protect the gays from getting beat up or so-called hate crimes against them. No, they're trying to force children to think that this is good to get into. They're trying to promote it as a positive thing. They're trying to act like it's something to be proud of, homosexuality. That's why you see the homosexual rainbow so-called pride flag flying at U.S. embassies under Obama and under Biden now, which is really the same thing as under Obama, right? Or something. Basically just the mob, the scum of the earth, the subversive and subverted masses running the show. Useful idiots running the show. So Joe Biden spoke on Thursday. Sleepy Joe, creepy Joe. This is really what makes him creepy. Way more, honestly, than his rubbing the shoulders and sniffing the hair and hands wandering on children, because this is spiritual fingers meddling in the hearts and souls of children and people, oppressing the normal people by pretending that all of this stuff is a good thing. All of this LGBTQIA madness. He spoke, it was his first major foreign policy speech, and he said, like, in the next 180 days, I read some Revolver News headlines about it. He wants every major part of government and part of the world to push for LGBTQ equality and rights. And we're going to give priority to the LGBTQIA refugees because they're coming from countries that are not as welcoming as us. So that's for sure going to be people who don't vote sane, let alone live sanely. They don't vote sanely for the most part. Some of them who are less radical and evil may vote a little more sanely than others, but for the most part, these people are Democrat voters that he's bringing in as so-called refugees. And so, look at this. Look at some of these pictures. It's just gross. It's sick. This is from Ezequiel Becerra. No E in his name. Ezequiel. Usually it's Ezequiel, but it's not. The U.S. Embassy in Costa Rica lit up in the colors of the rainbow flag during Pride Month in June 2016 when Biden was vice president and Obama was there. Costa Rica putting the rainbow kiss up to the gays and pretend that they should be proud of their degeneracy on that. This is terrible. Flying the rainbow flag right directly underneath the American flag. What a disgrace under the in Israel. Yeah, there's a Tel Aviv, from what I hear, Tel Aviv is very degenerate. It's basically like a San Francisco or an Atlanta. Very extremely pro LGBTQIA. Not pro the people, pro the degeneracy. And here's a guy who's mourning the death of, I guess, transgender victims of so-called hate crimes in Uganda in November 2019. Members of the LGBTQ community light candles as they take part in a vigil for the Transgender Day of Remembrance to remember victims of hate crime in Uganda in November 2019. And a lot of times they are getting attacked because they're not honest with people, and so they fool people into thinking that they're really women. And then they see an indication that they're not women, and then they freak out and hit them. And in other cases, it's just like, it's a sickening thing. So some of the blacks, there have been knockout attacks or setting people on fire here in America who just act or look weird, dress up weird. I remember there was a boy who dressed up like a girl over in San Francisco or the Bay Area, Oakland maybe. And he was lit on fire on a train by a black young man. And this fake hate crime thing, they're not combating actual hate because they're pushing hatred of Christians. And they're pushing embracing of the hatred that causes people to get this perverted. the passions, which is hatred. Sick. I want my rainbow to be a rainbow once again. Yeah, it used to be God's promise not to flood the earth again, because the earth was so degenerate. So he flooded it and killed everybody, except for Noah and the family. Anyway, that's Joe Biden. Sick stuff. Terrible. By the way, he's pushing for immigrants, illegals, and refugees to come in and stay in. He's halted deportations. There was a Trump-appointed judge who said, no, we have to continue deportations. And then in some cases, we ramped up deportations to like Congo and different places, right? And that, people were all mad. There were crazy calls to stop the deportations to Haiti. So, yeah, these people don't stop. Very persistent. Yeah, that's true, Chris Edwards. He says something that I'm not going to repeat about the stuff, about the LGBTQIA stuff. And you're right. It's not. It's not real. I won't go further than that to avoid being disgusting. Let me get to Richard in Charlotte, North Carolina. Wants to talk about this public school madness. One line open, guys. 888-775-3773. I'll try to get to all of you guys. Richard, thank you for calling from Charlotte. Nice to hear from you.
Hey, James. How you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well, brother. Yeah, I just wanted to talk with all this LGBT stuff since Biden's got back in. It was a big issue around here, letting transgenders in the bathrooms, and they were wanting to do that. People
wanted to boycott your entire state, right?
Oh, they did. They did for the basketball championship and all that.
Yeah.
For the NCAA. We lost that. We lost not the championship, but the preliminary rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was all kinds of stuff. North Carolina is pretty much it swings back and forth, Democratic and Republican, but we're just kind of pretty much conservative Christians and Democrats. My grandpa was a Democrat all his life. He'd roll over in the grave if he's seen these guys that are running the Democratic Party now.
Yeah. No, that's why Earl is insane. That's why Earl is insane. And all these people who want to hearken back to, the Democrats, he pretends the Democrats and Republicans switched parties. So what if they did? The Democrats today are pure evil. And they're worse than they've ever been.
Exactly. Well, the Democratic Party's just been co-opted and it's sold out.
Right.
That's all it is. They're Marxist communists. I mean, I don't even call them socialists.
Right.
But the things they are doing right out of the radical handbook is they're all communist tactics. I'm from Germany, so I said, "Hey, Gates,
what'd you say? Okay. Are you on a speakerphone? You're coming in a little bit in and out.
No, it's probably my reception here, man.
Okay.
I'm out in the country outside of Charlotte. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Is that any better?
That's a little better just now when you said, is that any better?
Yeah, I'm talking a little closer to the phone.
Okay,
but,
cool. Nice.
Yeah, I'm just glad to be talking to somebody. Y'all are in L.A., and I was wondering what the schools are like there because we hear all kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was asked, I'm a local pastor, and I'm conservative. I have some liberal values about some things, libertarian. But I was asked to pray at the school board meeting tonight in our county, but I'm not able to do that because I have a town hall meeting in the little town I live in.
Oh, nice.
In the suburb of Charlotte. But anyway, yeah, it's...
I walk a block. You asked me what the schools are like. I walk a block over, and it has it's a social justice magnet school featuring STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, something like that, and social justice, which is not justice. It's just brainwashing the kids. And this is young kids, like an elementary school. It's pretty much closed, but you know that the teachers are still Skyping or Zooming with students and pushing this destruction, and the parents here in the Southern California or California generally, in some cases they're as bad as the teachers, brainwashing the kids to believe in their fake values. So it's pretty bad.
Yeah, we've seen some things where the books that they teach sex education in, and you mentioned that earlier, and I was thinking about when I was coming up, you could opt out of it. Of course, we were military brats, and, we ridiculed kids if a boy was gay or something. He got beat on. He was called a punk,
Right.
And but it was just that was the culture then, and now it's like, that's what my daughters, they're all grown and out of college, but they're like, Daddy, they're looked at as the social heroes now. And
I know.
I just can't understand how people think, just like socialism doesn't work. It only works as long as you have other people's money to spend. You tax them, and
right.
I mean, these stimulus checks, they're just giving you back money they took from you.
Yeah, I know.
It can't go on forever.
It's true.
$27 million in debt. But
and it costs them money to give it to you, and they charge you for spending it if you get one of those cards, right?
Yeah,
crazy.
It's just this illusion of leading. They're not leading anything.
Right.
They're stealing.
Yeah.
But the problem that bothers me so much in the school system, I think that's really where that as conservatives, as Christians, we need to either in mass, and I've heard people say for years, they've told me, no, we can't just leave it, and go to our private Christian schools. And we've tried
Why
it
not?
that way.
Anyway.
But we
even the private, honestly, even the
that.
private Christian schools are subverted because the states have standards, and then the young people are indoctrinated to believe stuff, and they become teachers in these private so-called Christian schools. And so even those are subverted into basically being communist imitation Christian schools.
Yeah. That's happening to the churches too. I think
Right.
if you've got a good school and you can come in and say, no, we're not going to take any federal dollars, and we're going to teach homosexuality is a perversion
Right.
under God's moral law. There is a moral justice that God has, and he's going to punish, just like he's going to punish whoremongers and adulterers.
Right.
He's going to punish perverts and deviants.
Yep.
And stand firm on that and man up and stand up, like y'all say, stand up. You got to man up and say, no, we're not backing down to this.
Yeah.
That's what happens over and over, I came up in a family of 4 military boys, and we were all boys, but we didn't back down. There was only one other family who was tougher than us. That was the Irish family, the Doheenies, and they had 13 kids. But we weren't even afraid of them.
Nice.
Like Irish, German, English, so we were just crazy. But I just don't get it, man. If we don't fight this battle on this moral level,
right,
and do something, and it's coming back now. As soon as Biden got in, now we're hearing rumblings in the school system in Mecklenburg County
that
they're wanting to bring this cross-dressers and celebrate these people,
Right.
that make up like 1% or less.
Yep.
That really gets me. This whole Democratic Party is like, they're the deplorables. They're the party of unionized misfits, Every group joins together so they can get what they want. And that's why the evil just perpetuates,
Right.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, but
I appreciate it, Richard.
I enjoy your show, man. Y'all keep up the good work and keep the battle. We're trying to fight it here on the East Coast, and
Good.
I love what y'all are doing out there in Cali. I know there's some good people out there.
Nice. Appreciate it, man.
Brother, have a good one.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Let me talk to Donning Armour from California. Long time no hear, Donning Armour. How have you been?
I've been well. How have you been?
Well as well. Thank you.
Okay, great. That was a weird call.
Yeah, he's a Christian. You can tell it. A Southern Christian man.
Yeah, I love my white people, but I'm starting to feel like, man, there's just crazies on both sides.
True.
It reminds me of that.
What did you think about him? That was what about him prompted you to think of that?
Just talking about homosexuals and how they're perverted and all this. I mean, homosexuals exist. They're people. Well, whatever. Who cares?
But do you see the push to lionize them?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. On one side, you have the people that say that every gay person is a degenerate pervert, and then on the other side, you've got gays like doing pride parades and pushing little, what's that? Devin is amazing or something like that. Little kids.
Right.
Yeah. Both sides kind of make me feel ill, to be honest with you.
I understand that you're talking about with the Christians calling them perverts and deviants, but he did condemn like all forms of this sexual out of controlness, because people having sex out of wedlock is part of the madness, and that's one of the things that he brought up. He mentioned whoremongers and other stuff.
Brother, you know that I'm not a Christian. So
right. You don't have to be a Christian, but you don't have to be a Christian to see that that's been destructive to society, and it's led to people embracing all this anti-whiteness.
Okay.
Have you?
All right. I'll just let you.
It's a logical jump. Does it sound like a logical jump to say that this sex out of wedlock has led to anti-whiteness? Does that make sense to you, or do you see that?
I don't really believe in the wedlock thing. I mean, to a certain extent, I do, but no, I'm not with you, brother. I'm not a Christian. I don't think like you.
Right. You were raised? What were you raised as again?
I was barely raised.
But what were your guardians? I forget if you had normal parents or if you were raised somewhere else, or.
My mother is, excuse me. My mother is a Christian, but my childhood was a troubled one. It wasn't very good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, the thing is,
the only time that I heard my mom talk about God was, "As God is my witness, I'm going to beat the."
Okay, that's funny. You got Joel laughing. I mean, it's not funny. I'm sorry for your childhood trauma, but you don't sound that traumatized anymore. You seem to have a good sense of humor about it. But let me just make this point. When you get rid of, never mind the God thing. When you bring in this people having sex like crazy, it makes men worship the women. And worshiping the women have all kinds of nutty ideas. You know that women tend to vote anti-white, anti-truth much more frequently than men do. You know that the children are poorly raised, and poorly raised children don't make wise decisions on how to vote, how to conduct their lives, how to be decent human beings. And that only leads to destruction of whites and the just country at large. I know that I mentioned whites because I know that you are pro-white. But it's
very much so.
Yeah. But this immorality, this attack on Christianity is also an attack on, and this attack on this pro-LGBTQ push. I understand you're not into the militant anti-gay stuff, but this push all forms of sexual stuff is an attack on whites, on America, on decency, and on Christianity.
Certainly, and much love to all the white Christian brothers and sisters out there, and much love to everybody who is non-white. I appreciate them all. I've got no problem with that. Whatever. It's not my thing, but if it's your thing, then that's okay. I don't dismiss somebody simply because they're Republican or liberal or Christian or white or black or whatever it is. That's not really my bag,
Right. We shouldn't dismiss them, but we should call out evil.
Oh,
because you can't be just live and let live, because that's how the country got taken over. I mean, that's part of how the country got taken over by the nicer, more sane people saying live and let live, and the people you're letting not you, but the people that many people have been letting live have been not just living, but pushing and subverting and taking over.
Well, it reminds me of this song. I can't remember the name of the song, but it says in the lyrics, clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
Right.
And that's kind of how I feel right now, man.
Yeah.
It's just silliness. There's extremists on both sides.
It's true.
I don't want any part of it. I'm just trying to live my life and improve myself and take care of my family.
Yeah.
That's all I want. But, I agree with you, but I disagree with you. And
all
I
right.
know that I got a little bit irritated with you, and I dropped your channel for quite a while.
I wasn't
know how long it's...
I wasn't really aware of that. I mean, I know that we've disagreed and yelled at each other. I mean, I've yelled at you over time, but I don't know what prompted it. I don't remember what prompted that.
The first time that I called your show, you hung up on me.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because I don't remember either. You know what I mean? I've come back and
nice.
And you're using the term anti-white, which is an improvement. You're starting to...
What's funny is I've always said it, but I'm saying it extra more because I know that that's what you're into. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, well, I've noticed, and I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm just some nobody out there on the internet. So, but you do you, by all means. Anyway, shall we just get to what I
go for it? Yeah,
about?
You want to call it about masks and social distancing?
Yeah, I'm going to piss some people off on the right.
All right.
Even though I'm more right than they are, but here we go. Listen, wearing a mask does not hurt. It doesn't hurt anyone. In fact, nations that are more well off than we are have been wearing masks for decades. So I don't agree with the lockdowns. All right. I don't agree with the stay in your house stuff and all that kind of nonsense. As I said, clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. All you got to do is just wear a mask on your face, social distance, practice that, and wash your hands. If we do that, we help to reduce the spread of germs. Is that such a bad thing to ask of people? I mean, people look at the mask as this tyrannical oppression. Listen, you're already oppressed. Like, you've already lost.
That's true.
You know what I mean? The nation is already gone. I just don't understand why trying to help to spread the germs is this tyrannical, oppressive force. It's not. It's not. It's just a piece of paper over your face. No big deal.
But it's
people, they can't take it.
Because the people who are pushing this mask thing the most militantly are being very annoying and obnoxious about it. You've noticed that, right? I don't know if you have seen Joe Biden and that bald lady Ayanna Pressley. They tweet out, wear a mask, and they picture themselves wearing masks. And it's just, and then if I'm walking in, I've told this story a bunch of times. You can tell I'm traumatized by it. If I'm walking in Beverly Hills at a park, and I walk way around a father and his young son, a young father who's like my age or younger, and his young son, and I walk 10 to 20 feet away from this other young couple, and they're judging me and cussing at me and saying he doesn't care about other people. He's not wearing a mask, and put on your effing mask, a lady says. And it's ridiculous. I'm far away from them. I'm outdoors. I'm breathing through my nose. I'm not coughing or hacking or any risk of danger to them. But they're just not. I almost said Nazis about it, but they're just commies about it. Communists about it.
Yeah, no, well, this is the thing. On the left, you have these crazy people that if you're not wearing a mask when
nice pictures, Joel.
when you're 20 feet away from everyone else, like jogging. I saw a guy jogging by my house
by himself,
just the other, and he had a mask on.
Yeah,
and I was thinking, like, It's kind of ridiculous.
Right.
You don't, so on one side, if you're not wearing a mask at all times on the left, then you're a evil, terrible person. But then on the other side, I hear these people talking about the mask is a muzzle. It's
right.
It's a nappy. It's a diaper on your face. It's a chastity belt for your mouth. I mean, dude, can we just compromise here and, wear a mask when you're in social situations and not wear one when you're not? The mask is not a form of oppression. Social distance. It's a pandemic. It's no big deal. You know what I mean? But let's just conduct ourselves in a civilized manner. We don't have to go from one extreme to the other.
The other problem is, though, is that people question even the numbers of deaths and stuff, and how, like, I read some headlines about, the flu is suddenly down, and like these are Revolver News headlines, right? And so I don't know what the truth is, but they say 98% drop in flu cases, only 155 hospitalized nationwide. I don't think anybody anticipated a season where there was no flu. And it's a Yahoo News article about the COVID thing. And so people are calling this a pandemic and being melodramatic about it. And I believe that there is a new disease that called this thing, well, we call it the Chinese/commie virus. But the severity of it seems to be overstated for political control.
I do not deny that's the case. When people say that they're trying to use this to gain more control, absolutely, they're always trying to gain more control.
Yeah.
By they, I mean, the higher ups, the governments and whatnot. But
yep.
It's also destroyed the economy. So a lot of people have lost a lot of money.
The shutdowns. Yep. And I know that you're against those.
Yeah, I'm against the lockdowns. I don't believe in that. But, I think people always should wear masks.
Even in normal times? Even?
Yes.
Wow. Did you ever go to Asia?
No, I've been all over Asia.
Were you into the Asian culture at all in the past?
I've been to Malaysia. I've been to Philippines. I've been to Thailand, Korea, China. I've been all over the place. And I don't wear a mask because I'm scared of a virus or something like that. Which I don't want to get the virus by any means.
Right.
If it even exists. I know there's a lot of people out there who say it doesn't exist.
Yeah. I
had somebody tell me that AIDS doesn't exist. It's okay, bro.
Wow.
Whatever you want. I respect them. They wear it because they're trying to be polite. They don't. If they cough or they sneeze, that those particulates, enter into the room or the space around them, wherever they are. Mm-hmm. They wear a mask to be respectful of each other.
Yeah. What's funny is that a caller named Robert from Kansas, you may be familiar with him, called in and gave me a tip about something that I had not thought of, was that the reason that they're pushing 2 masks now is because the one mask is making the particles in your breath much finer, finer mist or whatever you want to call it. It's not mist, but it stays in because it's smaller, it hangs in the air much longer. And so now they need 2 masks because it may be making things worse because it's leaving your breath, your germy breath, hanging in the air longer than if you had no mask. So now they're saying two masks. So there's all kinds of unintended consequences to these measures that people are pushing. The science is not settled, I think. Anyway.
No, and I don't know either, but what I do know is that it reduces the spread.
I do remember one time you called in upset, now that I think of it, because I questioned whether vaccines cause autism. I'm like, how does autism come about? And I mentioned it in the context of I sympathize with the people who don't necessarily trust vaccines. And you say that it's proven not to cause autism. But I don't know. I don't know what it was.
As far as, well, first of all, just with the mask thing, and then I'll get to the autism stuff. But surgeons, nurses, they've worn masks for many, many years.
Right. But that's so they don't drool on you. Because you have like an open wound that they're working on.
Are they salivating as they operate on you?
Or their nose doesn't just drip. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? And the vaccinations. No, I don't understand this. You know, the first time that I heard of vaccinations causing autism, or now a lot of people are saying that vaccinations will sterilize you.
Yeah,
right?
I've heard.
I don't know. Have you heard?
I've heard that, and they do say don't get pregnant within 2 months of taking this vaccine, this COVID vaccine. So I've heard all kinds of stuff. Well, now, I don't know.
Yeah, now they're saying don't get the vaccinations at all because it makes you sterile. The first time that I heard about that was in North Africa and in the Middle East, where
that's where they make a lot of babies.
Yeah, that's where they make a lot.
And there is a push to depopulate the world.
Well, there's a push to depopulate white people, but
true.
Yeah, no, that's the first time that I heard that. They were talking about the polio vaccination in the Middle East and in North Africa, excuse me.
Yeah.
And saying, don't take it. It was the religious leaders that were saying, don't take the vaccination because it's going to make you sterile. This kind of paranoia, man.
Right.
Listen, I'm not saying be the first one in line to take the vaccine, but don't judge all vaccines as some kind of global weirdo thing, conspiracy to stop you from having babies. Just don't be crazy, regardless of if you're left or if you're white. I know the chat's probably hating me right now, but that's my point, and I'll let you go.
Appreciate it, Donning Armour. It's good to hear from you, man. Take care.
All right, man. You too.
Wow. Let me talk with Lucas in, by the way, Joel Friday here, he showed a meme. It had Fauci on it. Anthony Fauci, right? The guy who talks like this. Just go ahead and wear the whole box. It's a meme that he came across. Somebody came across on IG, apparently. And he's wearing like a mask, but the whole box of masks is there. That might block a little bit in a certain direction. Let me talk with Bible go-to guy out of Los Angeles, California. Oh, and then Lucas. Hang tight, Lucas. Bible go-to guy, what's up?
Hey, James.
Hey.
Thanks for taking my call. I'd just like to inform Donnie Armour that he's not a moderate.
He's not in the center between the crazies?
No, he's not. Because the center is constantly changing by how radical society is getting.
Right.
So you could be a moderate today, and tomorrow you be a raging right-winger just because you actually, and he mouthed these words about how government is always seeking power. Well, that's a right-wing radical view right there today.
Nowadays,
the left is, because the left is like, oh, government is all good and all powerful and all wonderful, and we need to give government more and more power. So his view on government is actually radically right-wing nowadays. And so, like I said, it just depends on what time frame we're talking about,
True.
Society. So
well,
moderates really help bring down the country because they are like anal about staying moderate. So they're always adjusting their position.
Yeah.
To be moderate.
To go with the flow, but not too much, but not too little.
Flow.
Yeah.
Moderates are go with the flow type of wimps. And they're always changing their position. And so they're more worried about looking moderate and commonsensical, so to speak, than, actually taking a stand for what's good and true and real and stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And about wearing.
Yeah, go for it.
And about wearing masks. Listen, if you want to be protected, you wear the mask, because the mask protects not only you from other people, but other people from you.
Right.
That's what a mask does. It's a wall. If you build a wall around your house, you can't get out, unless you make a door, of course. You can't get out, and they can't get in. So if you're so worried about the disease, wear a mask. That doesn't mean anybody else has to wear one. You wear one, you're protected.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yep.
And yet people don't see that simple common sense about masks. If you want to be protected, nobody else has to wear a mask. If you walk into a room where everybody's COVID,
you can wear a face shield too.
Yeah, you can wear a face shield, a
so
mask.
I showed a picture of a guy with a mask and a face shield. That's how waiters. That's how waiters look in some of these places in LA.
You know another reason why the mask thing is all bull? Because we know at work, when I used to be working, right? When somebody got a flu or something, we wipe down the surfaces. So if we're really into wiping out this thing, we'd not only wear a mask, but we'd wear these dang latex gloves.
Yeah.
You know how bothersome that is all day long, how sweaty your hands get?
I know. You get yourself sick.
Yeah, but it does block,
right.
You from spreading the virus all over everything you touch.
Yeah.
Because that's how most people get sick anyway, is they touch what other people have touched.
And then touch their own face.
But you notice nobody's wearing any gloves. So this whole thing about the mask is like a half-hearted measure,
right,
to just virtue signal.
In many cases, I think you're right, man. A lot of people are just kind of like what he said, just doing it to go along with the flow and be respectful of other people who are into this, or at least other people who are also just following the rules and don't really know or care.
It's like a big pretend thing, because you take it off when you're eating, and well, what does that mean? That all of a sudden you're on an airplane and you're eating.
Yeah.
Now, for those few minutes, the virus isn't spreading like wildfire when everybody's eating? Of course it is.
Not to mention all these politicians that we've seen say, oh, let me put on my mask before I go in front of the people. Meanwhile, they were hanging around their coworkers and associates and underlings with no mask on. And then they go out on stage with a mask on,
and
just for drama.
And they go to big restaurant gatherings.
Yeah, they don't.
Like,
they know
like
it.
Newsom did.
They don't. They're not taking this seriously.
They're not taking it seriously. You
Only the
do what politicians do, not what they say.
Yep.
Yeah.
What a mess. I appreciate it, Bible Go-To Guy. It's nice to hear from you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Let me get to Lucas in Alhambra. Lucas in Alhambra, California. What's up?
Hey, I'm going to make this quick. Well, first, I was going to talk about Trump supporters, well, quote-unquote Trump supporters, but I wanted to say about the mask thing from Dalai Lama, what is his name, Dorma? What?
Donning Armour, and it's spelled with the British spelling of armor with a U.
Yeah, he would be a perfect actor for an episode of The Twilight Zone, because how he was speaking about it, he was like, just put on your mask. It's just a piece of paper, and how calm it is. It sounded cynical to me. I don't know about anyone else, but it sounded a little cynical.
Yeah.
But anyways.
That's funny, because you're an anti-mask activist, huh? You've protested against masks. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that, actually, because I am an activist, and I do go out there, and I actually go to these rallies and these protests on both sides. Well, now it's mainly the right side because everyone wants to kill me on the left side. But right now it's just mainly on the right side. But I went there on the left side, and this is kind of for Earl, because Earl kind of made me want to call, is that I've been to Trump rallies, and everyone does not agree, and people do fight. I've been to the left side and their rallies, and people do not agree, and they still fight. And especially BLM and Antifa, they don't get along as many people think they do.
Right.
You know, BLM is very aggressive. The white people are always just like, you know, making sure they're not pissing off the black people.
And you know what?
It's crazy.
The black leadership in Black Lives Matter, they infight like crazy and backstab and all kinds of stuff. They have no, like Jesse Lee Peterson always says, they have no love.
Yes, yeah. No, exactly. And I'm trying to touch on the point that Jesse always talks about, is that it really is a spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
Because I go to these Trump rallies, and we don't all get along. we're not QAnon supporters. We're not like all Trump supporters aren't QAnon and the Boogaloo Boys. I heard Earl. That's what really made me want to call it. Boogaloo Boys. They outright say that they are not Trump supporters. They do not support Trump. So I don't know why he added that in with QAnon.
Yeah. And
QAnon people are just crazy people that are all into their intellect, and they think that they know more than the other Trump supporter because they listen to this person or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. So I want Earl to know that, Trump supporter, you can't just put all these names and categories on it. The only difference
that's so true.
Yeah.
When I get into any type of argument on Twitter, they call me a Q-tard. They know more about Q than I am. They're more into Q than I am. I don't know anything about that stuff. Or I say something about waking up, and they automatically assume, oh, I'm into Q. I don't have a clue what Q is about, except that they're against pedophiles, which I respect.
Yeah. Yeah, but the only difference is from the left rallies that I went to and protests and the right rallies and protests that I've went to. The only difference is freedom of speech. If when you go to the left,
right.
you have to dress this way, as in put on the mask. You have to, put your fist up. If you don't, they look at you and they start recording you, take pictures of you.
Yeah.
On the right, it's different. They are a little bit on censorship, though, I've realized, but it's because of doxing. People I got doxxed.
Right.
People have doxed me, and it happened to me. So that's the only reason. That's why, just so everyone knows, and I hope Proud Boys doesn't get mad at me, but Proud Boys are there so that they can make sure no one gets doxxed, because
nice.
They also have a list. They also have a list of photographers and so-called journalists and stuff. They know who that person is.
Well, they've come under major attack. They've been smeared like crazy, and most of them are just decent people who just love America or the West in general and don't like this direction that we're going, but they're just endlessly smeared and legally attacked, so they have to be careful. And I'm not into fighting with Antifa in the street, but even the ones who haven't gotten into fights with Antifa have they've seen the evil up close, because look at the people, the prosecutions and stuff, political prosecutions for beating up an Antifa person or whatever. All kinds of evil things happen to them. So they do have to be cautious.
They're going for the small people right now. They're going for the tiny people. Because me, I'm not gonna say my information and stuff like that. But me, I only have 326 followers on Instagram,
nice.
126 followers on YouTube, and they're attacking me. They're doxing me.
Right.
They're putting me out there. They're attacking the little guy, and I'm nothing. I work for a living. I'm working at this warehouse 11 hours of Monday through Friday every day. And I'm just going out whenever I have the time. I go out there, be an activist, and they're attacking me, and they're putting my information out, all this kind of stuff. That's the only difference from the rallies, and I'm talking this from an activist point of view, so that, Earl and all those other people that always hate on Trump supporters, go there. If you really want to really know, then go there. You will see it for yourself. Go to both sides.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, the Trump supporters are so nice to any liberal who comes in, if they see a liberal, they'll go over and debate them and just be like, you're an idiot or whatever.
Yeah, but they'll let them be there, and they won't go crazy on it.
Wow.
However, January 6th is a different story. I even try to tell people that I was wrong, because I know what happened at the Capitol, but when I was at City Hall, LA City Hall, and people got a little too physical in my liking. I wasn't a part of it,
right?
But I saw it, and I was like, it's a little too much. But I saw that everyone was on edge. Everyone was on edge.
Yeah, people have to stay cool. Otherwise, you're going to undermine yourself. Appreciate it, Lucas.
Yeah.
Nice report.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm glad.
All right.
Take
care.
You have a great day.
You as well. Let me get to Tony in California. He wants to talk about Kyle, Jack Bauer, John Wick, Rittenhouse, the Great. What's up, Tony? How are you doing?
Hey, how you doing there, Hake? How you doing today?
Fine, thank you. What's up?
Yeah, I see that your hero is on the run from the law. I mean...
Is that so?
Yeah, because they took pictures of him at a bar throwing up the white power sign not too long ago.
What's a white power sign?
You know how you do that white power sign. I'm sure you know how to do it.
Describe it for me.
It's 3 fingers up and like a zero with 1 finger down with the other hand.
Are you trying to say, you mean the OK sign? He was showing the OK sign.
It's not the OK sign, it's the white power sign.
You're talking about this? This is the OK sign. That's not a white power sign. You fell for fake news, Tony.
No.
Yes.
But the thing is, why is he?
Then how come you're just claiming his white power sign when you have no clue what his intent was in flashing the OK sign?
Okay, because we've seen your president do it several times.
And yours too.
No.
Yes.
Biden never did that. And
Obama did. I don't know about Biden. Biden just hates everybody.
And the Proud Boys do it all the time.
I know, but this has nothing to do with white power. They're trolling you, and you're falling for it because you're a sucker.
So can we get back to the reason I called and ask?
Yeah.
Why is he on the run?
Yeah, you can drop that. You can drop that lie about white power. Oh, he's a white supremacist. Stupid.
There you go with that mess.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he's running. But
I don't know anything about that. I don't know that he's running.
Well, why are you missing that? Why he didn't go to court?
I don't know.
Why they put an extra $200,000 over his head when they
I know that the prosecutors were mad because he did not dox himself for Antifa to go find him at the safe house where he was hiding. And so I know that it's political prosecution. I know that much.
Well, the thing is,
because he didn't give his proper safe house. You know, he didn't give his safe house location. He gave his home address, but he's staying at a safe house because there are evil people whom you support who want to kill this guy.
Well, if he can go to a bar after he turned 18, he's not interested in no safe house. He
is. He can go to a bar. What's the big deal? He's 18.
But you say here in a safe house. Now, how you gonna be in a bar and be in a safe house?
You got to live, Tony. People live.
And being in a safe house. Safe house means you being protected.
Yeah.
And trying to stay away from people.
Just because he went to a bar, he was not seen on social media at that bar. He was seen on like security camera at that bar. Somebody doxed him and spotted him.
Okay. And the second thing I want to speak to you about.
Maybe it was a little bit of pictures.
Well, man,
he might have posed for a picture.
The guy that killed George Floyd with the knee on his neck.
I don't know that he killed him. There's no proof that he killed him.
Okay, but the thing is, the proof is this: that George Floyd and that.
Did you know that George Floyd had overdose levels of fentanyl in his system?
Well, you know what thing? If you look at the.
Did you know that, Tony?
Well, listen.
Did you know that?
I'm sure they did when they.
No. Did you know that?
Can I tell
yes
you
or no? Yes or no? First.
No, I didn't know that. No, I didn't know
You didn't know that George Floyd had overdose levels of fentanyl in his system? That was known from day one.
Well, I see when the police came and picked him up off the ground, and all of them.
So, see, Tony, you don't care about the truth. You just listen to what you want to listen to.
Can I tell you what? Can I tell you? See, you don't want to hear what I got to say because you know I'm going to put the truth on you right here.
No, but I just put the truth on you, and you're just glossing over it because you don't care about the truth.
But George Floyd and that police officer worked at this club for 10 years together.
We all knew that.
Oh, you all knew that. You knew that, but
yes.
You said this man did not have no intent of killing him.
There's no proof of intent of killing him.
If I put my knee on your neck for 9 minutes, I think you would die too.
Who knows?
Huh? With fentanyl or no fentanyl?
Who knows?
Let me put my knee on your neck and put my.
Did you know that? Did you know, Tony? According to Jesse Lee Peterson's excellent producer, Hennepin County said that his death was due to complications from drugs.
Okay.
And then there's a change.org petition, anti-science, asking Hennepin County to rescind their medical examination because they know what that looks like.
Okay, once again.
That's according to the Star Tribune.
If I put my knee on your neck for 9 minutes and put my hand in my pocket, putting more pressure on your neck, right there on your jugular.
My jugular? Isn't my jugular up here? My jugular is in the front, buddy.
No, I'm talking about that. I'm talking right there on the side of your neck.
Oh, right here. Okay. Oh, this vein thing?
Yes.
You don't know what you're talking about, Tony.
Okay, so there you go. I know.
All right. Nice talking with you, man. Take care.
Have a wonderful day.
You too. just speculation. That's why he's like, oh, they worked together for 10 years.
He said, oh, I didn't know that about the drug thing.
I know.
He didn't care to know.
Right. I think he knew. I think he heard it, but he's just playing dumb. Let me talk to Dana in South Dakota. She has a response to Donning Armour about Christianity.
Hey.
What's up, Dana?
How's it going, Hake?
Going well, thank you.
Yeah, it kind of kept growing as you kept talking, and it's kind of funny because first of all, like I was kind of thinking a lot along the same lines. Like they've been asking us to double up on masks, admitting finally that one mask is only like 30% effective, and Brandon made a good point in the chat about if it's just a piece of paper, how does it stop a virus?
Yeah. I mean,
they were lying and saying differently before, like it was like 70 or 90%. They were trying to say one mask did before.
Yeah.
But now you need 2 or 3 masks, and yeah, that's not comfortable. I'm sorry, 2, 3, that's ridiculous. That's even more ridiculous. But it's not the point
and people
of
look silly when they do it, too.
Exactly, and it's not the point of wearing it. It's the point of forcing people against their will to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's kind of vulgar, but like a lot of people say if you can smell a fart, then it doesn't work. The particles are getting through.
Right.
I know it's kind of vulgar, pardon that, but I mean, I've walked away from places that are pushing it. Like I won't go shop at a place if they're requiring you to wear a mask.
Well, in South Dakota, you probably have more choices than we do over here in LA.
Yeah. No, and the funniest part, and I'm going to mention that too, is South Dakota it doesn't have a mask mandate the same as the rest of the states. And
Nice.
North Dakota is doing 100 times worse, and they have a mask mandate. And you can look that up.
That's interesting.
It's doing much worse than the one that doesn't have the mask mandate.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've seen people first of all, just be healthy. That's the first thing.
Exactly.
And then just give people their space. It's called personal space. Before it was ever called social distancing, it was called personal space.
Exactly. I mean, left or right,
And
it
wash
doesn't
your
matter.
hands
I mean, common sense may no longer be common, but it doesn't change the fact that it's true.
Yeah.
It's just, it really is. You just think about it. And I mean, in Asian countries, he was talking about that too. And it's like, yeah, you are forced to wear a mask. It's like, it's a communist country pretty much.
Yeah.
And you know what? What's crazy is you can't touch your face at all. If you have mucus spewing down your face, you're not allowed to touch it until you get into a place where you can wash your hands and stuff.
I know,
like,
it's
legit,
gross.
You are not allowed to. You can't use a tissue.
That's terrible.
You can't use any of that. Yeah, no, it is terrible. Oh, yeah, that's so comfortable. Oh,
Right.
yeah. Hey.
I appreciate it, Dana. I got to run. We're coming to the end, but take care. I appreciate you.
All right. Have a good one, Hake.
You too. In the last minute here, let me get to Chris in Texas. What's up, Chris?
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. We have just 1 minute to go, so go right to it.
Okay. I'll make my point quickly. So yeah, I noticed. I feel like you guys are on point about a lot of stuff with being about the evidence, and I want to know, given that, why do you believe in God? Because I feel that there is not sufficient evidence for you to believe in God.
What evidence would you need?
Well, I would need evidence that basically makes it a certain thing that the God of the Bible, which I guess is the God that you're talking about, is true, does exist. And I don't see that. I see that the things that are often explained as God can be explained as other things that are not godly, that are just natural phenomena.
I think that you're either going to see it or you don't, because people, if you look around the world, like, I don't know how you can not believe in God.
I don't understand.
Because if you look around the world at reality, at human beings, at nature and everything, it just seems like, makes sense to me that there would be a God. Makes a lot more sense than there being no God.
Is it possible that we could have all this stuff that we have if there was no God?
I have no idea. That seems like a... are you smoking? Do you smoke?
No, I don't.
It honestly, it's just, you're a blind person. I'm a blind person, and neither of us has any proof for either way. And you're not going to be convinced by me, and you're not going to be convinced by what you see until you see it for yourself.
So if you don't have proof, why believe?
Well, you're the one who has no proof, because it would make more sense to believe in God than to not. Because looking around at reality is the proof itself. For most normal people, looking around at reality, how can you do anything but believe that there's a God?
Because you can look at the evidence and see it doesn't necessarily lead to the conclusion that there's a God.
But you don't have. It's also about logic. You look at the evidence. The evidence indicates God, and the logic indicates God. But the atheists have become like so blind that they don't see the evidence that's in front of them.
Can you give me like one point of evidence that there's a God?
Look around. I mean, look at yourself. Look around you.
I'm looking at me. I don't see.
Exactly. You don't see. Anyway, man, we'll talk more another time. We're at the end. I just wanted to get that in. Appreciate your call. Sorry I got to you so late, but there's so much.
No, it's cool.
We'll talk more, man. Are you the 22-year-old?
No, I'm 29. I called last week, though.
Yeah, I remember talking with you. I talk to so many people, man. All right. Anyway, man. Oh, I remember talking with you. We talked about racism.
Right.
Okay. Cool. Well, it's good to hear from you. And call me again, man. We'll talk further about this. It's kind of interesting. Although we're not going to get it. Well, anyway, I don't want to say that we're not going to get anywhere. But I appreciate it, man. Take care, Chris.
Yeah, you take care, too.
All right. Rick and the rest of the callers, I cannot get to you. TheHakeReport.com for my stuff. JesseLeePeterson.com for Jesse's stuff. I put up the Hake News segments in the Hake News section of my website as well. You can read up on. And we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Right? Nice. All right. Take care.
I just like my alone time. Dude, love my alone time. That's what I love doing me. My favorite thing.